Studio Wesley Live, our weekly hangout for community connection. I'm Derek Scott III here with a smaller panel. We're down by one, but it's still going to be a great, great episode. So we're going to get right into it. It's going to be a great night. So let me start out by asking Allison, how are you doing? And the question is, to get us into the room tonight, true winter or Florida winter? You get one.
You know, I was doing okay until you asked us this question, Derek.
Yeah.
No, I'm fine. I'm tired. It's the end of the weekend, and I did a lot because I've been out of town a lot. So I did a lot of like resetting this weekend. So I'm just a little worn out from that, but ready for the week to start. The problem is I hate cold weather. I'm a Florida girl through and through. And so I'm like, Florida girl because of the weather, not because of a lot of other Florida things. I want to just inserting that here.
Yeah.
I want to say Florida just because like it's not as cold. However, I'm gonna throw into this. I actually think I might say true winter because at least in true winter, there's fun things like snow.
Nice. I have to say, Allison, I am here for the new ministry of the Florida Conference of the United Methodist Church, Florida Girl Ministries. I'm here for it. Let's go. And yeah, I'm with you. Well, we'll see. Thanks, Allison. It's great that you're here. Grace, how are you? How's it going in Atlanta? True winter or Florida winter?
It's going. Atlanta is kind of giving us Florida winter, but I don't know. I like it. I like real winter. I also a Florida girl for some reasons and not for a lot of other reasons. Just to reiterate that. But I love real winter. I love the snow. I grew up with some snow because like my family is from like Tennessee, Georgia, Kentucky, so like the South. So like I was around snow, but I didn't have a lot of memory of it. And I finally saw snow. No, that is correct. Florida, quote unquote, girl. But we saw, and that's why it's just Grace. That's why it's just Grace.
That is why it's just Grace.
But I finally saw snow in my like cognizant like adult memory last year in Atlanta when we got snowed in. I love the winter. My body doesn't love it. I like lose feeling in my hands. They go numb. Excuse me. But then see, my body doesn't like me talking about the winter either. But I'd rather like enjoy what I can from it. And for that, I need real winter. Because then you get real autumn and you get real change of leaves.
Yeah. I mean, thank you, Grace. I'm so glad you're here. We're going to have a great night, you, me, and Allison. I mean, it's clear what I would choose. True winter every day. Like every day. Like I would prefer true winter 365 days a year. Actually, it's not true. I would prefer true winter for like 2/3 of the year and then Florida winter for the other third. That would be great. And so with that, we're going to go straight to highlight of the week. Let's go. Highlight of the week, where each member of our panel is going to share something they saw in the news, something happening from neighborhood to nations that they want to make sure the Studio Wesley universe knows about. So I want to start with you, Allison, and ask you what's your highlight for the week.
Yeah, I am. Neil's not here tonight, so I'm gonna pull a Neil.
Okay.
If you guys don't know, I live in Tampa, and I'm pulling a Tampa highlight.
Okay.
I actually had a hard time finding a highlight this week. This week was just crazy and busy, and there was so much going on that I didn't have a lot of things. I don't know if I'm a Tampa gal, but I do live in Tampa currently. But one thing that I very much enjoy to do on the weekends, which I can't do all the time when I'm traveling, but almost every time I'm home, I go to farmers markets. I love a farmers market, whether I buy something or not. I love walking through it. I love the atmosphere. I love talking to the vendors and following them on Instagram, and just like the interactions at the farmers markets are like some of the best I've ever had all the time. I like to bring a little book and sometimes like find a cafe in the area and read afterwards. And so it really definitely like boosts the dopamine in my brain whenever I do it. So the link that I'm going to put in the chat in a minute, it's called Tampa Bay Markets and it's literally, you can just find the event calendar for all of the farmers markets in Tampa Bay, and I use it all the time. And so that's my highlight right now. I went to the market this morning. I got some soap, I got some tomatoes, some corn. I don't remember what else, but I feel like there was something else, a cookie for my grandma. It was great. Had a good time. And I'm going to put the link in the chat to it in case you guys are ever in Tampa and you want to go to a market. We've got at least 2 every weekend, but usually more than that.
Thank you for that highlight, Allison. I gotta say, I do appreciate the farmers markets. I don't go to them very often because they're usually outside. They're usually outside in Florida, and yeah, I just don't like Florida.
The weather was actually so nice today in Tampa for a market. It felt so good.
So nice, as in like the temperature was over 70 degrees. Nice.
No, when I left, it was like 64 degrees when I left this morning.
Okay. Well, again, it was anyway. The thing I love about farmers markets, they always have some vendor that's got pickles. Somebody's got pickles.
There was no pickles today. There's always pickles.
They should have shut it down. They should have shut down the market. What's the point? You don't have to.
I didn't want to add that because it would take my highlight away.
No, pickles are important. I'm glad we're discussing this. Pickles are necessary.
It's probably a shortage of pickles that is causing so much of the world to be on fire right now.
Make some.
Make somebody. So, you know what? I'm going to quit my job and I'm just going to go into the pickle business. How about that?
Wait, everybody. No, Grace, stop agreeing with this.
No, pickles are important. I just
promise I'm making. Am I making a promise that I'm going to quit my job and become a pickle?
No promises there. No.
Add it to the list, friends. Add it to the list.
Don't add that one.
Derek promises to provide us luxury pickles.
Yes, when I quit my job. Okay, so thank you so much, Allison. This is why I love highlight of the week. Grace, what's your highlight for the week?
So my highlight of the week, I'm so excited. 5 Seconds of Summer. If you don't know them, that's okay. They've only been around 15 years. It's fine. They just came out with their 6th studio album. It's called Everyone's a Star. Really, it's in all caps. So it's Everyone's a Star. But they just came out with it on Friday. I love it. It's a departure from their usual music. They their 5th album was very vulnerable, very they produced it themselves, and so there was some I don't know, it was they recorded that one in Joshua Tree, and then this one was a complete 180, which we will get into because I was also tasked with the Studio Wesley Cafe piece, which Allison, I don't know if you know this, but whenever you ask me to do cafe, there's something really wonderful happening in my world, in my musical world. So last time I got to talk about Jade or Jid, and then Derek promises to learn how to say Jid. Right? That was our first promise.
Was it the first one? Because I feel like I've got another one ahead of that one. I'm working on it.
Anyway, so it was good. It was good either way, but they just came out with this album. I love it. There's some pieces that I do love that we will not be able to talk about on this live stream. However, there are some pieces that I also really love that we are able to talk about on this live stream, and so we will, and it's going to be wonderful. But I'm just so happy. I love these guys. I have a tattoo for them. One of my favorite songs by them, Shoulder. They got shoulder real estate. This is important. And she's a beauty. She's really pretty. My friend did it. Talk to me about that. I don't want to take up all of our time, but I'm so happy.
Solid.
I'm so happy.
Thanks for that highlight, Grace. I'm sure.
Thank you for giving me time to talk about this, Derek. Thank you.
And I'm sure there's more for us to discuss around this album release. Super cool. I want to first acknowledge some of the folks hanging out in the universe tonight. So hello, Caitlin. Hello, Taylor. Hello, Natalie. So good to see y'all. Yes. And let's just be real tonight. Okay. The fact that Taylor has a group of people in her world that don't like pickles is a reason for evangelism. Let's just be real tonight. Okay. Let's be real. All right. As long as you're not sweet gherkins, because sweet gherkins are not worthy of human consumption. My highlight of the week this week is that on Wednesday, our country stopped producing pennies. What in the world, y'all? On one hand, I get it. All right. So here's one of the things that the article that's going to be put in the chat is some of the things that they said. It costs $3.69. It costs 3.69 cents to produce 1 penny. So for every penny, it costs almost 4 pennies to produce it, which does feel a bit off. It does. The value add cost differential is a little off on that. I got to be honest. And so you get all and when the president said that we were going to stop producing pennies several months ago, many retailers stopped receiving pennies because they're like, what are we going to do with this? Which here's what you do with it. You save the pennies so that they can hopefully increase in value. And one day that penny, which is currently only worth 1 cent, one day it's going to be worth hopefully 4 cents. Hi, Ashworth. Glad you're here. So I thought this was worthy of a highlight. I thought this was a worthy highlight to bring to the table. We are losing our pennies. They're going away. It is what it is. I feel horrible about it. But, sometimes progress is progress. I just said a few minutes ago, every now and then, big, corporations like a broken clock may, every now and then make a good call. And I actually think this is a good call. I do think it's a good call to stop. Yeah, I do. I think it's because if you've ever worked behind a bar and you've had to count pennies at the end of the evening, especially when you didn't actually use any pennies, but you still have to count them at the end of the evening, girl, yeah. Let's end the penny era. Let's get out of the penny era. According to the article, now people are trying to stop the nickel era. And I don't know. I might have some feelings about nickels. I don't really care about pennies. I'll leave them on the ground. Pickles. Nickels, though. This episode should be called Nickels and Pennies. That's what it should be called. Nickels? I needed to hold on to them. So beautiful highlights of the week. They're all going to be available to you on Instagram tomorrow, as well as in our link tree. Thank you, Allison, for always being so efficient with those. And that was highlight of the week. Allison, I think, wait, before I even go there, I think we have some announcements.
Yeah.
You have an announcement. Go for it, Allison.
I have an announcement. Just that we have community group tonight. We'd love to have you there. We meet at 6:45 and or when the live stream ends. So if that's after 6:45, if it's not after 6:45, we hop on at 6:45. But space for college age young adults. You don't have to be in college, just around the age of a college age young adult to come and hang out. There's some together time, some community, some teaching time, highs and lows, prayer requests, all the things. We're here for whatever you need in that moment. So we'd love to have you join us. And if you have never joined us before and you aren't sure how, just send us a DM on Instagram and I can guide you to get there.
Super cool. And I'm going to hang out a little bit tonight too.
Yay, Derek. That's my only announcement. Second announcement, Derek is joining us in community night because he likes us.
I do like y'all. And so I'll be there. Super cool. Well, great opening segments. We're going to go into our revolving segment. A regular, is it revolving? Recurring segment. One of our recurring segments is called Studio Wesley Cafe. Studio Wesley Cafe is our segment where one of the members of our panelists will bring some kind of art piece to us to discuss together. And tonight, I promised to do my job.
Wait, it's the way that in your sentence you said, and tonight, and then read it. I promised to do
my job tonight. One night only, friends.
One night only, because why would I do my job? Like, why would I do my job? So, Grace, you are bringing our Studio Wesley Cafe piece tonight. So I want to pass the mic to you as I figure out what it means to do my job.
Yeah. Well, I think you promised to do your job by joining community group was the context. But so Velcro and I, this is like a secondary announcement. Velcro got spayed this week, so we love her. We pray for her. But she wanted to be here to talk about she's Velcro no sticky. She wanted to be here to talk about 5 Seconds of Summer's 6th studio album called Everyone's a Star. Like I said earlier, we don't have the capacity to talk about every single song on the album, which breaks my heart a bit and also relieves some stress because there's some of these songs we don't have to talk about. We can text about it later. But what we are going to talk about tonight First, I wanted to give us just a little bit of context about the album, some of the vibes of the album, and then we're going to talk about one song specifically, maybe a second one if we get there. We'll see. We'll see how lively the conversation is. There's 3 of us. So, I could talk for 2 hours about this minimum, but we don't have that time. So basically, yes, the album is called Everyone's a Star. You can see their pictures in the little corners of the thing. They went just on a complete 180. So this is a very like kind of meta album. They are very like cognizant of like who they are in the world. They started off as like a punk pop band. You might know them from the song She Looks So Perfect, standing there in my American Apparel underwear, and I know now that I'm so down. You might know them, Young Blood, So You Want Me Back in Your Life. Those were the 2 big ones that were on the radio over time. But this album, they like, over time, they've been very like hesitant to like say or like to self-identify as a boy band because they are 4 guys who play all their own instruments. They're all like multi-instrument people. They are highly skilled. They're a band that are boys, and they are just really talented, and I love them so much. I love Luke specifically. I love all of them. It's hard to pick. But they've also all done their own solo music. So in between, so Ashton and Luke. Luke is the one with the spiky hair in the picture. Ashton is the one to either the left or right of him in the black jacket in the picture. But they've done some of their own music in like years past. And then over the past year or 2, all 4 of them have come out with their own solo pieces. So this album is also, they didn't go on a break. They didn't like break up and then get back together. They just also were doing some of their own stuff in their downtime. So we get to see like what it looks like now that they've had their own creative energy. Like they've had their own time to do their own creative stuff. And then they are able to come back together and make this one album and just see like what does the band sound like, instead of, oh well, what do I want to put out into this band. It's like, what does the core of the band sound like? They have this brotherhood. I love them so much. They have like been through the ringer and they're great. So the song that I wanted to talk about, it's called Boy Band. Ha ha ha. But the song, kind of similar to when I talked about Jade, it's like a discussion on how we treat people in the music industry. So some of the lyrics, I'll just read them really quickly, not too quick, but like just breeze through them quickly so that we can like, either we as the panel, even though I always give y'all so many sources, and I'm like, I know you're never going to get through any of these, but if you wanted context, it was there. But also for our watchers and listeners, just so you know before you go listen to the song, because I know you're going to listen to it later. I know you're going to listen to the whole album later. But for now, it starts off and you hear these like camera flashes and it's very dramatic and you hear these drums and it's like ba 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 ba. And it says, raised on pop, punk, and bubblegum, stay young, love me till I get it wrong, make me the flavor of the week, now I only feel alive when you're looking at me, I'm your favorite, boy in a boy band, imaginary boyfriend, irritates the metalheads, it's your favorite, boy band. Boy band, make that monkey dance, let me see you clap your hands, it's your favorite, boy band. Give you everything you want, see me on the television every time I turn it on, love me when I'm skinny and we never ever age, same 4 chords, but it never feels the same. So those are the vibes that we're on for this song. So I would love to see like what y'all think about either this era, if you were familiar with them before, what you think about this song. I've done a lot of talking and I could talk more, but I would love to hear what you guys think first.
Thanks, Grace. Allison, curious what your thoughts are about Everyone's a Star, 5 Seconds of Summer.
Yeah, I mean, I did a lot of my like focus in on the songs that Grace put in the chat. And so, you know, starting specifically with boy band, since that's kind of the song that Grace was referencing. I like it a lot. I will own up to the fact that I do not really know a lot of 5 Seconds of Summer stuff. I honestly did not even know that the one of those songs you just sang, I honestly did not even know that was their song, because I'm just not good at like that was one of those songs that when I was younger I wasn't supposed to be listening to, so I don't know who actually did it. But I like it a lot. I think that, you know, there's a lot of pieces of like just showing kind of how we act and the things that we do when it comes to holding people in the spotlight, that I always think it's super important to name. And I think it's more important when it comes from those people themselves, because it's talking about their life story and it's their lived experience and the things that they've actually gone through. Like I was trying to remember which line it was specifically that I was going to talk about, but now I can't find it. But there was like, now I only feel alive when you're looking at me was one of them. But there was another one specifically, where it's just talking about a lot of like, I'm here, I'm in front of you, you're noticing me, but also like I think I like the dance monkey thing that you were talking about, where it's like we get something from them, we're like, give me more. Like that's not enough. Like we almost hold a lot of singers and other people who are in the spotlight up to the standard of like, you gave me one thing, now give me more, which I don't know why we do that, because it's like it's art, right? It takes time to do all of this. It takes time to put it together. It takes time to write the music, and I don't actually know how writing songs work. I don't know if you do the music or the instruments first, but whatever order that comes in, and then the editing and the recording and all the things. I know that was the wrong order. But it's just thinking about like all of the work that goes into, so like I was a dancer and everything that went into putting on a recital, flipping that, and like what all goes into making music for us. And so like I kind of appreciate like acknowledging that in this song of like, here's the thing and now you guys want more, but why do you want more? I just gave you this thing. Appreciate this now. And so it's almost like being a self-advocate when singers and songwriters like name that kind of stuff in their music. And I just always appreciate that, because I think it puts it into a different perspective when we place it with like not only them, but every other like art piece that we're appreciating or art piece that we love to kind of engage in.
Yeah. Thank you. No, yeah, you're so right. And like seeing like when you talk about that, the line that reminds me of is there's like stay young, or where is it? See, now I can't find it, but there's like yeah, stay young, love me till I get it wrong, make me your flavor of the week. And they talk about like you said, like the like make that monkey like dance. And I think about like, yeah, I mean, you think about like the showmanship that like we require, even of like when we make animals perform at these like amusement parks, right? Like you expect them to perform and then you get mad when they act out in their
Love me until I get it wrong was the line I was trying to remember as one of those pieces that I was talking about, but I couldn't find. I have the lyrics up and I couldn't find it that quick, but that was one of the lines.
I have them pulled up in my head all the time, but I still couldn't find it, and that's okay. We have resources. Derek, what do you think?
So, well, I have a question first. What is the genre? Like, what do you call this genre of music?
Yeah, so it's still kind of pop. It's inspired by a lot of different areas as well.
Mm-hmm.
See, this is my fault for choosing to drink kombucha for this. See, you didn't ask us what we're drinking, so I couldn't give the listeners context. But yeah, so they were talking about, and actually, I was listening to some of the videos that I sent y'all beforehand to take notes and prep, because I'm a good researcher. And they talked about being inspired by like different brands of pop. So like one of the songs on the album is very 1975. So people have been saying like, I love 1975 Seconds of Summer. They love like it sounds similar. They were inspired by like Genesis with Phil Collins. They were inspired by like these bands that you have over time that are still called boy bands, right? Like the Beatles, Green Day. Like you have these bands that it's like they're not hesitant to be pop, I think is a good way to phrase it. Like it's like very like meta pop. Okay, so actually some of the quotes that I took will help answer your question. Maybe not as much the specific genre, but the like style of it. But Luke said it's almost like building video game versions of ourselves and wondering like what would they sing about. Ashton said we have galvanized and metallicized ourselves, so we are like pop icons, not insecure singular beings. So like their characters are these like pop icons. So together, ape strong, which I thought was also really funny when you think about like the like make the monkey dance line, because like sure, you're these like animals that are like forced to perform and ape strong together. right, and there's this like riskiness of like comparing like humans to like monkeys because there's like a lot of historical like racial connection to that, right? And so there's this when I heard the line first too, I was like, this is kind of like, let me like think about how did they choose to do this? Is this like could this be misconstrued? How is this connected? And so I think like
Mhm.
the showmanship of making animals perform, I
Yeah.
think they did a decent job of that, but that's also not my place to say. So would love
Well,
to hear
and
other comments on it, but yeah.
I there's so many thoughts that I actually have right now. I mean, when I started listening to him, so full disclosure, no one's shocked tonight. I've never listened to 5 Seconds of Summer. Like nobody's shocked. So it is what it is. So I'm listening to these tunes tonight, and I'm like, it's a very I know that we've talked about the stomp and holler sort of genre before, and it almost feels like a less inhibited version of that. It feels like a version that's like, you know what? I'm out here. Like I'm out here, and I have evolved. I have changed. And it's one of the things that's interesting about this song, Boy Band. What's funny to me is that the lyrics that I pulled up don't say boy band, but it actually says boy in a boy band.
Yes, so that's the chorus is two different lines. So the first one is I'm your favorite boy in a boy band, imaginary boyfriend. And
Mm-hmm.
then when we get to the second half of the chorus, boy band, make that monkey dance.
Gotcha. Yeah. So I actually really like. I don't. This is really sad to say, but the same four chords, but it never feels the same. I felt that in my chest, partly because of the number of worship tunes that
No, yeah, like you
that I
get
sang in my
there's the
lifetime.
magic recipe of how to make a room full of people cry, and like you got it. And it's a new song every time, allegedly.
Apparently, even though it's the same four chords over and over again. And I guess that's the thing. Like, our artists allowed, we talked about this before, they allowed to evolve and grow as human beings do? Or do I have to keep producing the same type of music but better? I have to produce the same type of music but better, as opposed to the music that is true to who I am today. And I think what you've described with 5 Seconds of Summer is that they have evolved in front of us, and they're not really apologizing. And I wonder, hmm, I wonder if it comes down to it, that really is what we want. Like we say that we want you to, stay the same. That line, where was it? That line, that we never age. Love me when I'm skinny and we never ever age. Again, that was another line. And it's literally right before the four chords line. But love me when I'm skinny. I was like, mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
And
Love
it's
me.
guys talking about that too, right? Because
Oh
so
yeah,
often it's like you want like the perfectly shaped woman on the big screen. And like this is still the case with guys. Like they started off as these little stick figures in these like even smaller jeans. And it's like,
I could never fit in the girl jeans. I tried. It just didn't work out. But didn't work out for me. But all that to say, we're gonna land this plane with well, you'll get the last word on this, Grace. But I do think like we that's what we really want. We actually do want our artists to evolve in front of us. We just keep saying that's not what we want. But actually, what I think we really want is for our artists to evolve. And they should just not be afraid of us. Like, don't be afraid of the words that we say, and don't be afraid of even the things that we write online. Like, we actually, I think what you're even describing in the evolution of 5 Seconds of Summer is everything that the market, if we're going to call it that way, or the crowd, the house wants. So, Grace, you get the last word in this segment before we transition.
so I'm really glad that you took us there. I'm glad that you flew our plane to that destination
Yes.
because and I'll end with a quote from Michael. But this, I think that's what I love about them, and I think that that's what a lot of the Five Sauce fans love about them, and it's what Five Sauce loves about their fans is that like, and they said this in one of the interviews. I don't remember which one, but they have consistently shown up for us. We have consistently shown up
Hmm.
for them, and like, there's some like, they went through their like wanting to be chaotic rockers and like hooking up with random people and like doing drugs and being really chaotic and like not being healthy for themselves or the people that they were in relationship with at the time. But one have like learned from that. They see that and they're like, oh, that's horrible. Actually, we should not be doing that. And they poke fun at some of that on this album too. But to be like
Mm,
vulnerable about your mistakes, to show up for the people that you care about, right? Like they've never been embarrassed that a bunch of like young teenage girls loved them. They
mm,
show up. They show up for their fan base, and their fan base has their back for their group work, for each of their solo pieces as well. They just this like maybe diehard fan base, but like in a
mm.
very like genuine like we respect them. Two of them are dads now, and we're like, that's privacy. You need privacy. You deserve privacy. You're human beings, and we respect you. And also like they can poke fun at stuff. But what Michael said, and like this like vulnerability to be able to like put out whatever music you want because you know like if you're gonna call us a boy band, sure we're gonna be the best boy band ever. We're gonna be the best at it. But he said we're just having fun with expressing ourselves and trying to. This whole thing is just about being the biggest, brightest versions of ourselves, and I think that's really cool. And like,
Wow.
might we all Friends, might we all choose to be the best versions? Thank you, Ashrith. Thank you.
Yes.
It's
Yes.
great. It's great. It's good music, and they have good vibes, and they have really cool hair too. So
Grace, thank you so much for bringing 5 Seconds of Summer into Studio Wesley Cafe. We are now going to take a soul break as we get ready to end tonight. So let's take a few seconds to breathe. Beautiful. It's been a really good night tonight. So one of the Old Testament texts in the lectionary today was Isaiah 65, starting around verse 17, going to the end. And I want to invite you to read that because I'm going to pull a line out of it. And that gets weird when you pull lines out of passages because like there's a whole context and everything like that. So I just want to invite you to read the whole passage at some point, verses 17 through 25 of Isaiah 65. But there's one line that I just wanted to put in front of you because I think it'll just create a beautiful um, opportunity for imagination that may stir hope for those of us in the space. So it's actually verse 18 where the prophet says, "Be glad and rejoice forever in what I'm creating." And again, there's a beautiful context, like a whole thing that is being said, but the prophet believes that God is creating something out of mess, that God is creating something out of rubble, God is creating something out of devastation, that the devastation that people are experiencing when they hear these words, that devastation is not the end of the story. There's this other thing that's coming. And here's the deal, it's not just coming, God is actively creating it and using, if I can say it, the broken details to weave something super beautiful. And I bring that to us tonight just as a word of hope. And I'll speak very specifically. I imagine that probably 25 years ago, I was probably sitting at this moment, so middle of November, in some semester, whatever semester it was, and I was realizing that I was not going to pass at least one of the courses that I had been in undergrad. Now I know that's nobody watching this live or later on, like nobody on the panel. Never had this space, this moment where you're in the middle of November, end of the semester. Like there's really no more time to like get extra credit. No more time to pull the grade up. Like we're done. You're going to take the L, or for some of us, the W, or the D. Just like there's going to be a letter at the end of this story that's not going to feel good. And I remember that feeling. Actually, I feel it in my body of like failing this course. And maybe it's not a failure of a course, but it's some other failure, some other devastation, something. And yes, for you, it is the devastation. It is the end of something, right? And I I want to speak into that moment. I want to speak to that Derek from 25 years ago. I want to speak to him and say, yes, this is not awesome. Let's not sugarcoat it. Let's not act like it's something that it's not. But be glad and rejoice, because I'm creating something. I'm creating something out of this devastation. That this failed course, or this ending, or this devastation is not the end. And I think it's actually really, really vitally important that we as human beings have some kind of hopeful anchor. That we do not believe that what is in front of us right now is all that there is, because there actually is more. And it's not just more naturally going to just emerge, which I do think sometimes that happens. But I believe that God, the God of Jesus, is actively working now, even now, creating something beautiful out of the mess that we find ourselves in. And so I want this to be a word of encouragement and a word of hope for all of us, wherever we find ourselves in the middle of November of 2025. And whatever just did not work out the way that we had hoped it would, whatever did not materialize in the way that we had planned, whatever, even with our best efforts, didn't go as far as we thought, or if you're Derek, you didn't actually do the things you were supposed to do during the semester, and now you are having to live with the consequences of your inaction. This is not it. This is not all there is. Behold, I'm doing a new thing. Behold, I'm creating something beautiful in the midst of all of this. Definitely go read Isaiah 65, that last section, because that's the context for this one verse. But that's my prayer, and that's my encouragement for all of you tonight. God is creating something beautiful out of all of this. And so with that, friends, oh my gosh, such a great show. We actually might end on time, which is crazy right now. So I want to thank Grace. I want to thank Allison for being on the panel. I want to thank Neil for being in the producer seat. Neil, hand claps. You did it. You did the production tonight. Like, I felt good about your producing skills. Maybe we'll do it again sometime. Yes, the show is over now. You can take your bow, my friend. So good. Friends, we're going to be back next week, 6 p.m. here on YouTube Live for Studio Wesley Live. It's going to be great. Remember, you're deeply loved by God. Nothing could ever separate you from God's love. See you in community group, or we'll see you soon. Be well, friends.